Hey y'all, and welcome to Gemini Outdoors, where we'll be continuing our Theory of Life discussion on the Illusion of Freedom series. This is probably going to be the last for now in this series, but I may add on to it in the future with future videos in the Illusion of Freedom series, just depending on how things go. This video will be entitled Freedom of Choice. And it may not be what you think it's about. I'm going to start this video off by asking a question, like I do in a lot of my videos, especially theory videos. Which freedom is most at risk in America today? Is it the Second Amendment? Is it free speech? Is it freedom of the press? Is it privacy? I think, and I think a lot of you will agree after I get through with this video and making the points that I'm about to make, that it is the freedom of choice. And it's not talking about what you're thinking it's talking about. Freedom of choice is something, it's not a one-topic issue. It encompasses everything that we do, because freedom is choice. It's the freedom to choose what we want to do, what we want to say, how we say it, what we say. You know, do we want to buy a gun? Do we not want to buy a gun? Do we want to believe in God? A lot of things like that. What is the freedom of choice? If you listen to the progressive globalists, it is about abortion. Let's go kill as many babies as we can because they're undesirables and we don't want them in our country. Or we don't want them in our lives. We don't believe they have a right to exist. They can't justify their existence. I've touched on that. So it's not about abortion. Okay? It's not. That's a topic as horrendous as it is, that these people are going to have to answer for in the future anyway. Maybe not to us, maybe not to a worldly thing, but to God they will. It is about who you associate with, who you choose to associate with, you know, who you're friends with, who you like, who you don't like. You know, freedom of choice is being able to say, hey, I like this guy, I like what he talks about, he's my friend, I know he genuinely cares about me, and I genuinely care about them. It's about what you can do or have. Hey, you know, I want to own my own business. I want to have the choice to own my own business, or I want to be able to go work for a reputable company who takes care of their employees, who provides for them a good living, and I won't have to worry so much. Or I can do both. You know, I can work for this guy and then have my own business on the side that I want to build up. You know, I can choose to have a YouTube channel. Just saying. You know, do I choose to have a firearm, or is that something I really don't want to do? It's fine either way. But the freedom of choice gives that to you. It gives you that right to be able to choose whether I want to buy a gun or not buy a gun. It is about how you live your life. You know, do I want to dedicate my life to Christ? Do I want to dedicate my life to Allah, to Hindu? Or do I not want to believe in God at all? That's your freedom to choose, your freedom of choice. How you want to live your life. Do I want to be a good person, or do I want to be a bad person? It's a choice. It is a choice. You're not born, I don't believe, good and evil. I think you choose to be good or evil. I think there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, but I think that ultimately it is your choice. A quick little thing about me is I grew up in a household without a father figure around that much. The only one was my grandfather. With that, I'm very appreciative that I had now when I look back on my life, because he was the constant, my compass. He was my compass. He was the one who showed me the direction that you need to take your life in and be a good person. Now, I had plenty of father figures come in and out the door, don't get me wrong. Some good, some bad. One very bad one that gave me every reason that these progressive globalists say that you have to become evil. Oh, he had an abusive stepfather and blah 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 blah. You know what? My abusive stepfather taught me what I didn't want to become. And believe it or not, I actually thank him for it. Now, looking back on my life, I thank him for it. Thank you for being that mean to me. Thank you for showing me what I did not want to be. I know people are going to be like, "Oh, that's being cruel against people who've been abused." No, it's not. No, it's not. They're showing you what you don't want to be. They're the best example that life can give you. And that's, all I'm going to say about that. I do thank him. I didn't appreciate it. There's a difference between respecting something and honoring it. There's a big difference. It's about when you do things. You can choose to and when to do it. You can choose when you want to do something. Do I want to go mow the yard right now? I need to, but I'm not. I just don't feel like it. It's my choice. I don't want to do it right now. It's about where you can go. It's about freedom of movement. Do I want to go to McDonald's later on today? I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Do I want to go pay a bill? I did that yesterday. Do I want to go to work? I'm going to have to do that tomorrow. Do I want to go and see my next baby being born? You bet I do. There's a lot of freedom of choice. There's a lot of things. It's a big right. That, guess what, has more to do than just talking about killing babies. Freedom of choice is not about just abortion. It's about a whole swath of things. It is the choice, I think, that is most under attack in America today, because it is being eroded. It's how we're having our freedoms taken away from us. We're having our choices taken away from us. Why is freedom of choice so important? I mentioned it before, because freedom is choices. A good example of that would be the ice cream analogy I used earlier on in this video series. Do I want chocolate? Do I want vanilla? Do I like strawberry? Do I like Rocky Road? Do I like cookies and cream? It's up to you what you like. But if you're at the store and the store decides we're going to quit carrying all these flavors, the only flavor we're going to carry from now on is chocolate. Well, if you like vanilla, you're kind of in a pickle, aren't you? If they're not offering that flavor anymore, then how can you get it? Is that freedom? No, it's not freedom at all. Choices are the basis, they're the basic building block of freedom. That is the freedom that is under such attack today in the United States. Free choice is being attacked on both sides of the aisle by the global elites, from the global elites passed down to the progressive globalists in both parties. You know, not having choices in life, I mean, like I said with the analogy with the ice cream, if you don't have that choice, you know, it's kind of like guns. Take a look at guns. They're taking semi-autos away. They're trying to take semi-autos away. They took away full autos. Eventually, if they take away the semi-autos, they're going to start going for the bolt actions. Then eventually they're going to go after the single shots. Then eventually they're going to go after lever actions. Then eventually they're going to go after all these other ones, until you're left with no choices at all. Then you have no freedom. Choice is under attack in the United States today more than any other right that's out there. And we need to start recognizing that and start realizing that the more choices, the more regulation that we put on ourselves through these so-called politicians and their little global agenda, the more we put ourselves in a box. The more we put ourselves in a prison cell. Yeah, those are my talking points, by the way. We're going to be standing there in our little prison cell like, what happened? What happened? I'm trying to rattle the bar, rattle the cage a little bit. That's what I'm doing with this video. I'm rattling the cage. Because as an American, I don't feel like we should be put into a cage for no reason whatsoever. The hell with your regulation and your right to regulate my rights, Miss Clinton. It's just ridiculous. Let's move on to the next section. Can the freedom of choice be eroded? It already is. Yes. It's being eroded one freedom, one choice at a time. A great example of that is the Second Amendment. They've already taken away full autos. Now they're trying to take away semi-autos. Eventually they're going to take away, like I said, the bolt actions, the single shots, the muzzle loaders, the air guns, bows and arrows. Remember, folks, it's not just firearms, it's arms. The right to keep and bear arms. So there's a lot more than just firearms you're talking about here. A lot of people just want to put it as a gun issue. It's not. It's arms. And they're going to eventually take away every single one of them in the name of safety and security and replace it with, oh, you have a right to call the police. That will get there exactly 15 minutes after whatever emergency took place, whatever criminal came busting through your door and did whatever to your wife and kids and to you and killed you with the illegal firearm that they possessed at the time. And I guarantee you, especially if you're living out in the country somewhere, 15 minutes when the cops show up, you and your family are probably going to be dead. They're probably going to be raped. And all kinds. They're probably going to be robbed. They're probably going to take every valuable thing that you got away from you. And that'll be that. So yeah, they're being taken away one choice at a time. Being able to and replacing, rights with privileges. I believe it was the video before last. You're in subjugation. I just touched on this talking point. Yes, by mutating rights into privileges, paid for privileges. Because eventually they're going to take away the privileges. You're not going to have the privilege of owning a gun. You know what? I've paid this license. I've paid this, done all these background checks. I've done all this for the government, these flaming hoops that I've got to jump through for the government to be able to own my gun. I can go hunting anytime I want. And then we're not going to grant you your hunting license because we feel that hunting is PETA has convinced us that hunting is immoral. So what? Yeah, hunting is immoral. So we're not going to allow you to do it anymore. And by the way, you can go ahead. You have no use for those firearms anymore. You can go ahead and turn them into. We're going to cancel. We're going to revoke your concealed carry license, your firearms permit. So you can go ahead and turn those in. We don't really like the idea that all this carbon dioxide is going up in monoxide, and all these noxious fumes and stuff are going up in the air. It's contributing to polar bears dying and PETA, and the EPA has decided that we're going to do public transit from now on, where there's going to be a bus come by your house or down the end of the block around 5 o'clock in the morning, even though you got to be at work at 8. But if you're going to get there, it's either walk or you can take this public transit that's going to be in your neighborhood at 5 o'clock in the morning, so you can get to work and then get home. And you can go ahead and turn in that car, or that truck, or that van, or whatever it is that you use, that motorcycle. Or you can buy this electric car over here for like $70,000, and the battery may catch on fire on it. We're not for sure, but your life, the polar bear's life, matters more than yours. So we can't have these polar bears drowning up there, at the North Pole or down there at the South Pole, or wherever, even though there's more ice now than there's ever been in one of them, I think it is. I'm just saying. So yeah, we're going to mutate your rights into privileges, and then we're going to take the privileges away. We're going to make your access to choices almost impossible, because we're going to take everything away from you. You no longer have the right to privacy. No, we don't know that you might be conspiring against the government. What? Are you kidding us? We're going to put a camera right up there. We're going to, every time you open your laptop up or your computer, we're going to turn that little camera on, and we're going to cut the microphone on, and we're going to hear everything that you say. Because the government has a right to know. You really don't think that's going to happen? Please, it's already happened. You know what? We're going to take your car away because we don't like the fact that polar bears are dying. Then we're going to take your bicycle away. We're going to take your little electric car away because it's going to be a safety hazard, because the battery is going to burn some folks to death. So we're going to take the electric car away. We're going to have our public transit, but if you don't want to use it, we guess you can take a bicycle. But when people start getting run over by the buses on bicycles, we're going to take the bicycles away, because you know what? They're a safety hazard. And then you can just walk, and we're not for sure if we're going to let you do that, because people are getting run over by these buses walking. Does it seem extreme, or do you think eventually it could happen? Why don't you ask a Jewish person that lived back in the 30s and the 40s, 1930s and 40s, if it could happen? Ask one of them. I bet you the answer is going to really broaden your horizon about how that works and how quickly it can happen. It can happen real quick. Ask them. If they're, like I said, if you can find somebody like that, or you can find a veteran who served in World War II, and they're all dying out, and it's sad. But if you can find, I've talked to quite a few of them in my hometown. I've talked to them. Most of them are dead now, and unfortunately, they're some of the greatest people I've ever had the privilege of knowing. And what those guys did, and some of the stuff that they've seen, some of the stories, if you can get it out of them, if you can get the stories out of them, because most of them don't want to tell you. They don't want you to know about it. They want to protect you from it. And there's a reason. But I got quite a few stories out of some of these guys. And just to hear some of the stuff that they've seen and had to do, it'll give you a whole new appreciation of life. I'm telling you it will. Let's move on to the next section. So can we stop the erosion process, the erosion of our freedoms? Yes, we can. We can stop it. We can stop it by identifying the progressive globalists and their global elite agenda, by revealing them, because they basically already revealed themselves in this election cycle, which is surprising to me, because Barack Obama did the one thing that happened to them in the 1800s. See, the progressives revealed themselves back in the 1800s. The progressive globalists, they revealed themselves. They showed themselves to the world. They showed their agenda to the world or to the United States. And the people of the United States were still, it hadn't been so long since the Revolution and the Civil War that they didn't remember it. And they completely rejected it. It's a different world. It's a different country nowadays. Things are a lot different now than what it was back then, because people don't remember. People don't study history like they used to. People only want to hear the history that they like hearing. They don't want to hear the real history of this country and how hard of a fight it actually is. So we have to identify these progressive globalists such as Hillary Clinton, socialists like Bernie Sanders, and reveal them for what they are. Now, I've got friends who like Bernie and all that and what they're saying about all the free stuff, but it's not free, folks. It's taxpayers like us that pay for it. It ain't free. It's coming from us. And we're saying enough. We're taxed enough. We've had enough. And people just don't listen to us. They don't listen to what we say. They don't care what we got to say. And then we reveal them to the world, which, like I said, they're doing pretty much themselves, because, like I said, Barack Obama, I think I didn't finish my point. Barack Obama has pushed a very progressive agenda. I think he's pushed the progressive agenda further than what the progressive elite wanted him to. I think they're actually kind of mad at him for doing what he's done, because now they got to put all their cards on the table now. That's why I say Clinton is going to be the worst thing. We're definitely going to go into subjugation under her. We may even go into total government under her, because they want to get, the progressive elite wants to grab as much power here in the United States as they can. And it is the 90 to 120 million gun owners in this country that is standing between us and that right now. They hate the American gun owner. And like I said, if all of us would vote, if all of us would go out there and get registered to vote, we could stop it. If people would quit bitching and start voting, we could get something done. Really big. And I'm really hoping I'm getting out there to gun owners who do not vote, or who quit voting, or don't vote for whatever reason. Listen to me. You need to vote. I've really been pushing it hard these last few videos. You need to vote on the gun issue. And if you're voting on the gun issue, there is one candidate, and one candidate only, that you can support. And whether you like it or not, it's Donald Trump. Because a vote for anybody else, or a no vote at all, is going to put us into subjugation, what I'm talking about, and have been talking about here lately. Once we reveal them, we can vote them out of office and stop the progressive policies that they're putting into place, such as Obamacare, for example, such as repealing the Second Amendment. That should be unrepealable, by the way. It says shall not be infringed. But they're going to try it. You can count on it. She's going to throw in those Supreme Court justices just as quick as she can. Just as quick as she can. So they're going to stop these, so we can stop these progressive policies by putting in candidates who offer the opposing, the constitutional. And I say you need to support, I say Republicans. But you got to remember that there's progressive globalists in the Republican Party as well as the Democratic Party. So be careful who you support. You might have to throw your support behind the Tea Party. I throw my support behind a Tea Party candidate if I see one's available, or an outsider that's running on the Republican ticket, such as Trump. Ben Carson was a great one. I really wish I'd voted for him now because of the crap Ted Cruz pulled. I supported Ted Cruz. I thought he was the right guy. I was wrong, and I admit I'm wrong. I'm going to have a video disavowing myself and Gemini Outdoors from him. I will no longer be endorsing him. He really disappointed me. I really think that he showed me that politician in him that he should have never done. He should have never done some of the things that he did, especially to Ben Carson and then at the the Republican National Convention. That was inexcusable for me, and I respect the man's right to defend his wife and his family. I really do. I understand all that. But he should have did what Casey did and just not gone. And he should have just released a statement saying, I will not support Hillary Clinton, and been done with it. I mean, if he'd done that, I still would have endorsed him. But now he's lost my endorsement. Then, like I said, we have to elect constitutionalists into office. People who will restore the Constitution. Restore it. Not just leave it alone like it is, but to restore it. To knock out these progressive policies like Obamacare. Repeal it. Get rid of it. You know, start giving people back their rights, for God's sakes. You know what I'm saying? Quit having to issue a license for every little thing we do in life. And then we will get back to a constitutional government, which I think everyone will love, because I don't think we've lived under a constitutional government in a long time. I think people will like that. So that's it, folks. That's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe. I like to get my subscription numbers. Hang on a second, buddy. My son's at the door, so I've got to go, okay? But I'd like for y'all to subscribe to my channel. I really need the subscriptions, the views as well, and comments. Take her easy, y'all.